Hi guys, Bobby here, and today I have the Lexus RX. Finally! Okay, first of all I want to talk about the color. This color is just glorious. I mean, who would have thought that? I mean, if you tell someone, oh, I bought a car, what's the color? Green. Everybody would be like, what? Green? But then you look at it, this beautiful, deep olive green kind of color is beautiful. I mean, without noticing it, you would have thought it's some dark shade of really dark grey or something. But then under the sun, it's beautiful. I remember CRV came out with this color. It wasn't. Was it CRV? I mean, it's a similar shade, but apparently that option wasn't too popular. But if you're buying a Lexus Harrier, Lexus RX, I think this is a beautiful color. Alright, as usual with all Lexus, the large spindle grille up front. This one has some square motifs in there, and then the slim headlamps, which is already now a staple of Lexus. You know, they made the slim headlamp assembly in the LC500, and then they rolled it across their cars. Very nice, very nice. The RX, beautiful. I'm not saying that the LC is earlier than this, but then it has been a Lexus hallmark now. Okay, now is this car huge? It is huge. It's a very big SUV. It's definitely larger than your how do I put this? You see, the Americans in the previous generation of this Lexus RX, they compared the RX with the likes of X3, Q5 and all that. And then the NX came out. Then Lexus now, in terms of the positioning of their cars, pricing and all that, right, there's a little bit of a overlapping, no, not overlapping, they interlace with the usual European, you know, Q3, Q5, Q7. And then even though over here this is the largest Lexus SUV we have, we do not have the GX over here in Malaysia, which they have in US. That is a large 3-row seater. Alright, but in Malaysia, over in the Asian market, we regard this as an X5, as a GLE, as a Volvo XC90 competitor. Alright, RX300, but it's a 2-liter. You know, when Lexus started putting in the 2-liter turbo engine, they were rather honest about it. They put a RX200T. But seeing how every German, like BMW, calls their 2-liter turbo a 330i, Mercedes calls their 2-liter turbo a C300i, how can you lose out in this numbers game, right? Let's have a look at the boot. Everything about this car operates soft and smooth. Okay, that's a parcel shelf that has that little rubber tip at the end that slots it in here. It goes there nicely. Some stitching. Okay, doesn't serve any extra. Oh, even this part is carpeted so that this thing won't rub against the plastic to make noise. Some of the plastics here are not super luxurious looking, but then they're hard anyway. If you watch my Cayenne video, I pointed out that this plastic in the Cayenne, the new Cayenne, the current one, this plastic is a softer plastic than the tip. Alright, you see Lexus put a little rubber at the tip, but in the Cayenne, no, it's just a hard plastic over here. So in the Cayenne, this tip is harder than this. So what result is that it was the difference in their hardness resulted in that chipping this part when you are doing it, when you're using it daily, you know. Space saver over here, thick soundproofing material. You have additional compartment over here, and then you have these two. Let me see. Oh, power operated. Is it one touch? Ah, it's one touch. Damn. and the motors operate in silence, pure silence. Let me put it back up. Oh, it's one touch. Okay, that's very nice. I can't hear the motor at all. It's absolute silence. The way it operates, and I can. Oh, that's the max it will go. See, I think that's the usual sitting position. But when you are seated there, there must be some controls that allows me to recline it later. Okay, so that's the boot. Very wide opening, not very deep, but superb. Very usable, very usable. It's just, see, I can't even reach all the way in there, and it's very plush compared to the usual Germans. The materials are plush. In terms of the plastic finishing, I myself have an XC90. I think the XC90 plastic finishing is nicer than this one, but this one is mightily good. Okay, then you have some aluminium scuff plates over here, and there's no load lip. Okay, very nice. Very nice. Can I sit here? Be careful if you're too fat, because if you put your weight here, it's alright. If you put your weight here, I'm not sure the clips will hold or not. Alright. Uses a power strut. Very nice. Ooh, everything just operates quietly. So do I need to do another walk around to let you have a look at this car? A little bit of history. Right, the first civilized SUV. What do I mean by civilized SUV? Back then, these cars are not called SUVs, they're just called off-roaders, 4x4s. And in Asia, every single car that looks like this, back then, we call them Jeeps. Okay, we thought Jeep is a term, you know, and little did I know when I grew up, it's a brand actually. So all these cars are called Jeep. In fact, in direct Chinese translation, in Chinese word, when you mention Jipu, Jeep, Jipu Che, right? It means off-roaders, right? In Chinese, literally it means off-roaders. It's not even a brand, right? So Lexus, in fact, should I call it Lexus back then? Okay, the first Lexus RX, which in Japan was called Toyota Harrier back then, 1998. It was the first car maker that made a civilized, day-to-day driving, luxurious off-roader. Okay, that means what we call now SUV, you know, with those sleek designs, very aerodynamic looks. Back then, all these 4x4s, they have those chunky looks, right? Like the Opel Frontera and stuff like that. They all look rather chunky, but Lexus was the first company that actually made a civilized off-roader. And it was so popular because the whole car just drives like a normal sedan. You know, you go inside, it's comfortable, it's spacious, it's luxurious inside. There's no hints of going off-road in the car, and this exploded into the current scene that we have now. So Lexus, if you hate SUVs, this is the guy who started it. If you love SUVs, if you love your HRV, you love your CHR, you love your Peugeot 3008, your Tiguan, your CX-5, you all have to thank Lexus and Toyota for it, right? They are the first one who made it so, okay? And here we have the usual L motif, the daytime running lights of Lexus. It's very stark, very striking arrow look, but almost every car maker has some form of arrow, right? Some goes upwards, some goes down. You know, Volvo is an axe. Oh well, they all tried their best to make themselves look distinctive. This looks like an intake. There's a little slit over here. I'm not sure what it does, but I don't think it serves much purpose. Nevertheless, there's some vents here. I mean, who cares, right? It's an SUV. Okay, very nice chrome plating over here. You have a camera here. The lines. These lines look really good, sharp, you know, distinctive. And but I have to say, I think most of the time cars that look like this will age. I may be wrong, but most of the time they do. Okay, some These are the exhausts are in there. Okay, I wouldn't call these fake exhausts. These are just outlets that circulate the exhaust. I don't recommend car makers to make the full exhaust all the way out here, because someone can kick it, a small collision can bend your entire exhaust tips. Not recommended. Okay, of course I don't recommend fake exhaust either. Alright, let's start the car from the outside. You can see the little door lock, little tip over there. Finished in chrome. Nice. Oh, plastic. Very plastic. Shiny plastic. Oops, did I miss this? So soft when you open the handle. Alright, let's come inside here. Start the car. Oh, look at it, it pulsates. And there's a mirror finish to this button. It's certainly plastic, but it looks like metallic, and then there's mirror finish, and then light shines through. Okay, when you start the car, what makes a luxury car feel luxurious? Let me switch off the car first. Look at that. Glides you to the back, lifts the steering wheel for you to go in and out easier. Nice. Okay, my first impression when I got into the car, the first thing that I felt, is this wood steering wheel rim. I miss this. You know, everyone seems to have that kind of leather wrapped steering wheel, and yes, leather feels good, but leather won't feel as good as wood. You know, it feels really nice. And certainly, I think in terms of price versus nice to hold ratio, I think carbon fiber has it worse, right? Carbon fiber feels like plastic when you touch it, and then it's expensive. Okay, let's look at the cabin, this interior. I think Lexus really has their own design language now. You can cover this badge and you show anybody a Lexus interior, anybody can tell that immediately can tell it's a Lexus. They have their own design language, which I'm very happy that they found it. This one doesn't have that weird little horn thing, but I'm not sure if the next one will have that, which is welcome. And again, like all Lexus, it has that huge screen now. This screen is just absolutely massive. Alright, is it touch sensitive? I'm not sure. It is! That's why it's so big. Alright. The whole screen resolution, everything feels really nice. Alright, feels great. And I'm sure if you spend some time behind it, you'll be able to figure it out, how to go to the main menu. Am I already at the main menu? I'm not sure. Is this the main menu? Oh no, that's navigation. No, that's just the compass. Where's the map? This is the map. How do I go full screen? Map. Oh, so if I press here, that goes there. If I press this again, it's already there. Come here. Oh, I go menu. Is that the main screen? Apps. Okay. Menu pops this up, and then you can press anything you like, or you can just scroll to what you want. When you scroll over it, it will show what is inside. See that? I presume I can go up. Huh? Oh, yeah, I can. On the phone? Oh, if it's not highlighted, I can't go up. I can search, go home, recent. If I press search, can I write? What? Wait, change type. Select keyboard type. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Change. Other. What is other? Other. There we go. Select input character type. Why is there a Thai word there? Wait. QWERTY, yes. No way! Oh, this is a wasted opportunity. See, this is a touchpad. right? If it is a touchpad, it should be able to let me write. I should be able to write, but see? I mean, of course it's a faster way to navigate than a click wheel, but since you have a touchpad, why don't you allow me to write, even though it's, oh, correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone here knows how to turn it into writing mode. Oh, that's wasted, seriously. Anyway, see, the thing is this, when you kind of get the hang of it, right, once you see, you don't have to even look at your fingers anymore. You'll be able to feel where it is, and the way they highlight makes it, put it this way, you just need to, you're driving, you take a glance, and then you sort of know, you can feel 1, 2, 3. You can feel it, right? So I guess that part takes away the hand-eye or whatever, but that's a wasted opportunity. You see, this is a touchpad. If this touchpad is raised on top of a click wheel, just like what BMW and Audi was doing earlier on, you can have a touchpad to write, and then you have a click wheel to select stuffs. That reduces the complexity of things. Alright, let's go through the interior. You have what is analog dials, very dead simple analog dials. If I take a picture of this analog dial and I tell you this is the analog dial of the new Vios, you wouldn't even feel anything. You would just say, oh, okay, you know, or a Corolla or whatever. It just looks simple, dead simple. There's no other way to make it simpler than this. And to have two dials and then in the middle a little not touch screen, little color screen that you can press the mode button here to toggle in between. I guess it's this is nothing new. Why am I turning on the stereos? Okay, it's nothing new, and it's somewhat monochromatic, even though I see a little bit of color just now. This feels rather year 2000, 2001, 2002. There's no new innovation over here. Nevertheless, let's look at the rest. Alright, this just doesn't reflect its selling price. Okay, I'm sure this car is like what, 400,000 or more than that. Okay, let's look at what we have here. Two blank buttons just to open the boot. That's to press this and view 360 cameras. I don't know why Lexus likes to do this. It's like the rest of the render might get distorted, and then they decided to not show it. I mean, just show the surrounding, right? Nevertheless, this average, I would say is average, and this is like a transparent view that allows you to see through your car, see through your wheel in your closest proximity, right? Not that it's okay, but it's a bit video game-ish. They should just do it like how everybody does it. You know, just keep it that way, and yeah, allow people to interact with it. This is such a waste of space. If you want to display the 360, if that's all you're displaying, just let the thing roll over here or over here, and then the other part you can show the front, the side view. You know, you can show other things with this massive screen. You have such a massive screen, but all you're using is just this little part. Shows that the people who are in charge of updating the equipment of the car is in a department that is rather far away from the people who are actually in charge of the software. You know, this is, well, anyway, you get 3 memory settings, and this leather feels really good, really plush, but should I say unfortunately, it's the same plushness, same soft leather that Mazda now puts into their Mazda 3. Yes, guys, you come into a Lexus, you put your hand here, it's so plush, so comfortable, and then you go into Mazda 3, it's so plush, so comfortable as well. That's why we all say that Mazda interiors are now matching up to Lexus interiors even, right? But there are differences in terms of other things. Let me show you later. And then here, this thing looks like metallic, but it's actually very, very obviously painted plastic. Okay, this is painted plastic. And I'm not sure, because if cars of a cheaper segment can put real aluminium here, of course maybe Japanese will feel that why you put aluminium under the sun? It'll be hot, scorching. If you want the looks of the aluminium, I can give you the looks of the aluminium without the heat from the sun. Yeah, but apart from the heat of the sun, it also feels cold when the aircon blows on it, and that's a good feeling. That's a feeling of high quality material feel, right? I'm not sure. It looks good, certainly. This doesn't look good. This is so obvious. It's chrome plated plastic, and it's warm to the touch even. And these guys are chrome plated plastic. Overall fit and finish, no one can fault a Lexus. All right, it is just so well finished. But sometimes it's just a mixed bag of stuff. You see, I mean, this is certainly slightly soft touch okay. And you see, you have high quality leather here, really plush leather, very soft leather here. You have high quality wood material here, and then next to them are these not so they're okay overall. See, I mean, look from afar, it's a good looking jaw card, you know. You have this. Sorry, I noticed the stitching line there. It's like, straight lines are boring, let's crisscross them here. You should have just crossed them all the way, you know. This is like, I mean, if you're just looking at one door card, it looks like chew, you know. But then it's available across all the other doors. I don't know how to judge them, man. It's a design, okay. Sorry, I keep noticing these little things, but overall I like this cabin. Okay, I have to tell you, I love this cabin. It's just quiet and comfortable and plush and nice feeling overall. You don't feel an inch of really cheap plastics over here. But of course, this is a 400,000 ringgit car. You cannot have that feeling. I just hope that these surfaces, you know, even the pedal shifters, can be made of metal, and then this door handle can be an actual milled aluminium, like how Mazda's put into their cars, right? Or other makers. You know, this is just some nice touches. See, the molding of this has a cover at the back. I don't think you can see it. There's a smooth cover at the back, and there's a little cup holder, okay, a bottle holder. And you get to put there is a mechanism over here. You don't see this often now. Now people just mold one doorbell and call it a day off, but Lexus actually designed a mechanism to feel more luxurious, because it doesn't serve. It could have just been big, you know? You get what I mean? But it's nice to have that, and there are no sharp lines. That's the thing with Lexus, or the Japanese, right? You can't find sharp edges of two plastic meeting each other in the entire car. That means they leave you no room to discover how they mold and how they fit all the parts together. This is very different from car makers like Italian car makers or French car makers, where their knowledge on how to mold parts to fit them together to hide the fitting line is not as good as the Japanese. In fact, I think the Japanese are even better than the Germans in certain ways. All right, they're really good at that. You just cannot find where are the meeting lines, and that's where the sharp edges are. Okay, steering column, everything feels great. Pedal shifters are tiny, but you don't use it often. You have a regular stick for the cruise control. I'm not sure if this car is as well equipped as oh yes, it is. You see that? That's for you to control the distance between your car and the car in front. That's to activate or deactivate the lane keep assist. That's to activate the cruise control. So you have this working with these two. You have almost semi-autonomous driving which is very, very good for this segment. Alright, you get a large clock over here, a nice placement. You get physical buttons for the aircon, for the radio. I like that. Japanese car has that, but again, Japanese cars, they don't really design the buttons. Alright, and then you have what seems like added features, and it seems like there are a lot of them. Let me move the gear lever to drive, so you can have a good view of it. There's air conditioned seats. Guys, only Lexus consistently put air conditioning seats into their luxury cars in Malaysia. Alright, Volvo doesn't offer it. BMW offers it in those really expensive ones. And this, to me, this is way more important for Malaysians than, say, heads-up display or sunroof, panoramic roof, you know. Having cars with air-conditioned seats, right, is just God-given in Malaysia, because especially when the weather is hot under the sun, you know, you don't have sweaty butts or sweaty balls. You know, when they sweat, they'll get sticky. When they get sticky, they'll get smelly, and you know the thing, huh? If you want good smelling balls, buy Lexus with air conditioning seats. There is a wireless charging pad over here. You can turn it on and off. Alright, there's some rubberized material there. There's 12-volt socket, two 2.1 USB ports, which is not the most powerful, but it's already considered rather good. Okay, my Volvo has if I would love it if my Volvo give me 2.1 USB ports. Alright, my Volvo's USB ports are literally useless if you on your Waze. Okay, if you on your Waze or your Google Maps and all that, you plug your phone in, right, they don't charge if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, they might even slowly reduce while your phone is plugged in. Alright, those are not powerful enough. Okay, there's a little hold button here. There's the electric release. So, what is this? Look at that. See, they even go to the extent to design something like this, because they know you prefer to put your phone like that. Fantastic! Of course, I hope car makers can come up with one whereby our phone can sort of stand like that, and we still get to see a lot of it. But nevertheless, this is fantastic. Alright, put it upside down, and you can charge it, or you can just light it in there. I'm not sure if it's powerful enough, because I have this little ring here. Most of the time, wireless chargers don't charge, provided they are the really powerful ones. Let me give it another try. Is it charging? Can someone tell me why, whenever I put a phone inside a wireless charging pad, you can hear mechanical moving sounds in there? What is going on? Why is there a mechanical sound? Do they like move things below to activate or deactivate it? Or the mechanism is there just so that when they detect it's hot and the heat rises up, and then the thing will mechanically move away or something like that? I have no idea, but it's not the first time I hear. See, I hear it again. Mechanical moving sound in a wireless charging pad. Okay, you have the cup holders here. This is another sophisticated touch. See, you have these two here, and then they have these which will hold it in place. Even if you have a paper cup, so it's able to hold it nicely. Now, this one, you see a push button over here, right? Now let's say, sorry, someone dirtied it, not me. Let's say you have a tall cup, a tall bottle. You can actually push this down. Oh, that's a nice touch, isn't it? Then you can put the whole thing there to raise it up in a very glorious manner. Ooh, that's Lexus for you. Another thing I noticed, I'm going to open the window now. You notice that? It opens in a very, very quiet manner, and the door cards don't even move. As it comes down, it slows down a little bit and goes in. When you close it, it goes up until here, it slows down and closes. That's finesse. Alright, That's finesse, Japanese finesse. Okay, you get Eco Sport, push. Why is this car so dirty? Who dirtied this car earlier on? Damn. Okay, you get a rather large armrest compartment with another 2 USB ports, auxiliary jack, 12-volt socket, and inside is carpeted in felt. And you can remove this to clean it or vacuum it. And then you have what is an empty space inside here. Nice. Alright, let's look at the glove box, covered in felt. Very nice material. Very nice material inside here. Very large glove compartment. Again, it moves together with the lid, so there's no worry of you putting stuffs inside and then when you close the lid you press against it, because the whole thing moves together. Okay, and then up here you have some really high quality sun visors. I love the finishing. Okay, very high quality. You don't touch the sharp edges and all that of the moldings. You can slot your cards here. You get sunglass holder. Is sorry, carpeted inside here. And then another one. Very nice material. The whole headliner is finished in a fabric material that feels better than Alcantara, that feels better than other materials. This is just a nice, it's not fluffy. I'm sure these are some spray-on materials, but they feel so good. Alright, reverse camera, another weak point of Lexus. It has always been a weak point of Lexus. I do not know why they fitted such a low resolution camera at the back. It's rather low resolution. Of course, you move the steering wheel, you move together with it, but the graphics are bad. The materials, it just looks low rent. In fact, the graphics of this looks like some aftermarket stuff. It's just not nice. Okay, let's go to the back seat. That's my seating position. You get a multitude of controls. You can even push this out. Alright, push this back in. Very nice. I love cars with that. You get a proper footrest with. These are not high quality materials, it's just very usual, regular. I think they use them in even Camrys or stuff like that. Let's come to the back seat. Okay, very rare in the segment. You get powered rear recline. And you get a totally flat floor. Look at that. The floor is flat. Damn. Oh my god, the space here. Okay, I don't get a lot of room underneath the seat, the front seat. That's because I sit very low. If you sit normally, like normal people, you'll be able to. Okay? And then, see, that's Japanese for you. The rails has a cover that is slanted so that you don't kick on it and lose the cover. It's slanted. Why can't car makers think of that? Why can't more car makers think of that? Just give it a wedge shape so that your feet glides on it instead of kicking on it and then the whole thing just breaks, right? In other cars. Oh my god, this is really high quality stuff. But it's not even a pocket, it's just something for you to grab things with this rubberized strap. It's really for brochures. Okay. My first disappointment for a car of this class, it should have B-pillar mounted aircon vents instead of these two little vents down here. But of course it has a nice angle to it, but nevertheless this kind of small output won't be able to satisfy a boss who sits behind here, chauffeur driven by a boss that is not so rich to go 7 Series S-Class can opt for one of these and sit behind, ferried by his driver. But some aircon vents on the B-pillar would be appreciated, but that's not too big of a problem, I would say, because the airflow is very well enough. Look at the space you have in between the seats. The seats don't obstruct a lot of rear vantage point in terms of looking up front or letting air to travel back here. That's the recline position. I'm on the normal position where using the rear button That's the lowest it allows me to recline down. Okay, and then let's look at this. Okay, you press this, the cup holders come out. This looks... what? Okay, it's spring loaded to close it quick. Why? They put a spring here to drag this thing back. And in terms of the opening mechanism, the size of the opening mechanism over the size of the thing it is opening, this one has the largest ratio ever. This is the largest opening mechanism by ratio for what it is opening. This is a small lid, but this thing is so big. Why? Why is this thing so big? I have no idea. And the stitchings behind here to wrap them in leather is rather finished badly, I would say. It's not. Look at all the stitch lines. Okay, it's just ew. But small complaints. You don't see that in your day-to-day driving. All right. That's just a little armrest for you. Still a nice one. Okay. Now for the seat back recline. Ta-da! Oh my god. Okay, the way the motor moves for this seat, it's not as Lexus as it feels. There's a little, but you can do this. Okay, you can sit like that, which I can't in my Volvo. I can't. I would love to, but I can't. Yeah, with this. Ouch. Oh, nice. Oh, even nicer. Okay, this is a personal preference. I prefer cars with panoramic roofs, but it doesn't. It doesn't have one. I prefer cars with panoramic roof. Alright, ingress and egress is just fine. Lovely. That's the rear passenger compartment. Sorry, rear seats. Another 2.1 amps there. And then you get what? Are these aircon seats or seat heaters? Heaters, that means fully imported. Okay. I wish they have aircon seats at the back. Alright, that's the walk around review of this entire car. Let's go have a drive. Now, I was trying to see if there is a way for me to adjust the seat on the passenger side to move it towards the back a little bit. I couldn't find that option here. That means it couldn't. It could have, but it couldn't. Again, that shows the weakness of software on Lexus part, okay? Because these cars runs on CAN bus. All they need is a software for me to sit here, use this to move the seat back, which I couldn't. Or maybe the seat wasn't integrated. And I would appreciate if there's a button over here. Come on, because the Camry has it, the Lexus ES has it. Those are cars that are a multitude of, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands that they are cheaper than this car to buy, and they could have had that over here as well. Now, it's a 6-speed transmission with the kind of shifting, the gated shift that people are no longer familiar with, because very few cars are using gated shifters now. 6-speed transmission, 2-liter turbo up front, 235 horsepower, 350 Newton meters of torque. So in terms of performance, this is somewhere in between that of a Volvo T4 and T5. The T4 is about 200 horsepower, T5 is 254. Alright, this is 235, so a bit of an in-between there. And in terms of performance, the competitors, the luxury competitors, have all uprated their 2-liter turbo cars to the 250 horsepower mark, which I don't think is too difficult of a thing for Lexus to do. But of course, they always, the Japanese always focus on the more important things than brochure. That means they would want the car to deliver fuel economy than on paper showroom number advantage. Alright, Yes, a higher number can help you to sell the car, but if the engine is squeezed in a higher output manner, you may suffer from fuel efficiency. All right, and we all know Lexus. Oh my God, the suspension is so good. I'm not sure if this runs on air suspension or not, but it certainly beats my Volvo in terms of the pliancy over speed bumps and over all these speed breakers and all that. It's very nice. And oh, it's a smooth driving car. Okay, see, you might be thinking that, hey Bobby, haven't you already driven this car? No. Currently we try to review as many cars as possible, and that's why we have a separate team that their only job is to pick up cars and drive to each of us to let us review them, and then they move the car to the next person, because we have so many content creators in our team members. And that's also a benefit for any car makers that hand us a car to review, because unlike how it was done back then, you pass one car to one media outlet, one video will come out or one article will come out from our side, you pass it to us. Within that same short period of time, we will hand it to 7 or 8 or 9 person to have 9 videos and outputs and all that, to have to basically our audience get to see more. All right. Oh my, the car is quiet, the car is smooth, the transmission works well with the engine. It almost, of course I haven't go at a fast pace, all right. And but you know how Lexus cars, they just have that sensation of you just want to cruise slowly when you drive a Lexus, because that's how they make you feel, and it feels good doing it. Maybe the car is too quiet, there's very little road roar, there's almost no sound coming from outside, and all I can hear is the transmission. That's all I'm hearing, or the engine, basically the drivetrain. I keep hearing the drivetrain. That's because it's quiet. Alright? Very smooth going. It's like a sports mode. Okay, let's go into sports mode. Ooh, red color. Red color. Okay, that's that weird transition between lightweight steering to heavy steering. That feels weird. Okay. It's slightly heavier now, but just now the transition was the one that was like, what's going on? Okay. It's not as heavy as the ES. The ES was too artificially heavy to my liking. This is just alright. But I guess all they did was just to sharpen the throttle response and the brakes. Other than that, I don't think this type of sports mode deserves a dial, to be honest. Same goes with Subaru's SI drive. It's just a little bit of a software differentiation, and they milled an aluminium button for it. Of course, they might say that, when you're changing your driving modes, it should have been an occasion, but nah. I mean, it deserves a dial if from normal to sport it goes like whoom, but you don't need that. Again, this is just some own opinion. It's not even a complaint, it's just an opinion. Okay, let's go sport. I have a little bit of a straight road without speed bumps over here, and let's see how the car pulls. A little bit of a lag there, and then it pulls strong enough. It's not the explosive type. I wouldn't want it to be explosive either, because this is very obviously a family car. Okay, the pedal shifters are too small for what. See, the thing with the pedal shifters is that halfway through the height of it, they turn it to the other way, so that from your fingers it felt really tiny, but actually it's not. But anyway, okay. It can it can corner, but you just don't feel like you want to do it again. Okay, the XC90 definitely had corners in a nicer way. I'm not sure about the skid pad figures or the G figures, but when you turn the car in, you want to feel your weight transfer settle down, and then you feel that the weight added to your steering wheel is consistent enough for you to decide you want to go a wider curve by accelerating, or a narrower curve by letting off the throttle. You know, you want to be able to know whether you can do that or not. Of course, not everyone drives like that. They say, what the hell are you talking about, Bobby? A different angle of approach with your throttle. Yeah, I mean that. Okay, coming out from a junction, one guy doesn't want to let you go past, and then you bury the throttle to... Okay, you can't jolt out of a corner. Of a junction, you can't. Okay, let me... Oh, sorry. I moved it back into normal earlier on. Let's try it again. Hopefully, if I have an opportunity. Let's go this side. Make no mistake, the ride is brilliant. Okay, so far my impression of this car is that the whole car feels so plush. Suspension is plush. Opening the door handles is plush. Putting my hands here is plush. Everything feels plush. So the sensation of this car is totally the other direction from how this car looks. This car looks sharp. You know, it's like the designer was only handed a ruler, but then the triangle ruler, you know, the sharp ones, and every sharp line on this car. But inside here is just very soft, very comfortable. You have curved materials. You have the wood here. Everything feels good. Okay. Yeah, the brakes are sharper because this is the... Yep, performance is just enough. Comfort is really good. Space is fantastic. The build quality is really good, but not to the extent where the build quality will surprise you. Like how someone first hop into a new Volvo, right? This is Lexus. It's an expensive car. It should look like that. It should have been. The transmission has a interesting CVT-ish feel to it at the 20 to 45 km/h, that kind of range. Yeah. So you'll be like, oh, this price, blah blah blah. Hey, it's CBU, made in Japan. All right, and yep. I mean, if you pay more for biscuits that are imported from Japan, right? Doesn't it feel great that your car is assembled probably by someone who earns more than you do? Right? Probably. Okay. Isn't that interesting? You know, the guy earns more than you do, and then he is assembling your car, you know. And made in Japan. Of course, it will be expensive. Some Malaysians don't appreciate that. They will just say that, oh, Lexus should local assemble their car, made it in Pekan, you know, blah 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 blah. Well, the Singaporeans definitely appreciate that. They wouldn't want luxury cars that are assembled in Malaysia, assembled in China, assembled in Mexico. No, the Singaporeans particularly want luxury cars to be assembled where their brand is from. They want that, all right? If it is a Lexus, it has to come from Japan. If it is a BMW or Mercedes-Benz, it has to come from Germany plant. If it is whatever, okay, you get my meaning, all right? The Singaporeans, they want their cars to be made where they're from because that's what they're buying, all right? So yep. Cheers.